5-minute warning here. I think we'll be able to start in about 5 minutes. Thank you. I'm sorry again for the delay. Well, good morning. The Senate Special Committee on Congressional Redistricting will come to order. The clerk will please call the roll.
Senator King.
Here.
Senator Creighton.
Here.
Senator Alvarado. Senator Hinojosa.
Present.
Senator Hughes.
Here.
Senator Miles.
Here.
Senator Parker. Senator Paxton.
Present.
Senator Sparks.
There being 7 members present, a quorum has been established. The purpose of today's hearing is to lay out a bill and to hear public testimony on that bill. If you intend to provide verbal testimony or would like to register a position on the bill, please register at one of the kiosks located behind the committee hearing room. We're going to, because of the number of witnesses today, we're going to limit testimony to 2 minutes, but you're likely to be asked questions by some of the senators, and if you are, that time certainly doesn't count against you, and the senators can ask as many questions for as long a period as they wish. I'm going to close registration at, we'll do it an hour after the committee hearing begins, so let's call it, we'll close registration at the kiosks at 10:15 this morning. Members, just so you'll know, registration was opened at 8 a.m. Today. To ensure that everyone will be heard in a timely manner, we will ask 4 witnesses to be seated at the witness table at a time. So I'll call your names, and I may let you know ahead of time that you'll be in the next panel if I can pull that off. Any member of the public may also submit written comments and attachments to the committee via the public input portal. If necessary, we will take a 5 to 10 minute break every few hours so that members can stretch their legs. And also just want to mention, if you see a member get up and walk out, please know that it's not an indication that they aren't interested in what's going on. We have to take a quick break on occasion too. And if they have to go back to the back room and grab a cup of coffee or for the restroom, the audio plays back there as well, so as well as the video, so they'll know everything that's going on when they step out. Members, I know that there's a number of you may have some comments today. I'm certainly available to answer any questions when we lay out the bill. I also will reserve some time. I'm hoping we can take the bill up for vote today, and if we can, I'll certainly reserve time at the end for you to make any closing remarks that you wish to make at that time. If we have no committee amendments on file for today's hearing, we also have some overflow room, and if we end up needing that, I'll announce where those are at. And with that, I'm going to pass the gavel to Vice Chair Creighton. And again, I want to thank everybody for being here today.
Okay, thank you, members. At this time, the chair lays out Senate Bill 4 and recognizes its author, Chairman King.
Thank you. And members, the layout's a little bit longer on this than we normally do in committees, but this is such an important issue. I'd like to, with your patience and grace, go into a little bit more detail. I want to thank all the members of the committee who are in attendance today, and we're all taking time away from home and family and business and everything for the special session. The purpose of this layout is to provide an overview of the bill for the committee and for the public. And just a little context of the special session: on July 9th, Governor Abbott called this special session, which began on July 21st, 2025. The duration of the special session is 30 days. All the topics of the special session are set by the governor, not the legislature. One of the topics for this special session is congressional redistricting, and of course that's the subject matter that we have before us today. House Bill 4, HB 4, was introduced in the House on Wednesday, July 30th, and was passed out of the House Committee on August 2nd, 2025. Note that today we are considering the Senate bill, which is a companion, which was filed by me on Monday, August 4th. So the House bill and the Senate bill are identical at this stage. It is the chairman's prerogative to set a schedule for review of the bill under our Senate rules. My goal is to complete redistricting within this 30-day window offered by the current special session. Now, there's been a lot of activity on the House side, but we today are focused at our job at hand for the Senate, which is to address the bill before us. Now, I want to take a moment to discuss the public input we've had on redistricting. I want to take us back to 2021 because all of the data that we will be using and are using for this redistricting process is from the 2020 census data. So since 2021, the Senate has held 21 regional or public hearings, and the House itself has had many additional hearings. I think they actually had some in 2019, I think 14 regional hearings in 2019. Now, these hearings have given the legislature an opportunity to hear the public's concerns about the 2020 census data and about redistricting in general. This plan, as I said, is based on the 2020 census data. 4 Senate regional public hearings and 1 additional public hearing, specifically for invited testimony, have been held during this special session. And let me comment a minute on those regional hearings. We divided them up regionally. However, anyone was able to testify on any portion of the state at each hearing if they desired. But we had the South Texas and Central Texas hearing on July 25th, 2025. We had the North Texas hearing on July 26th, 2025. We had the East Texas hearing on July 28th, and the West Texas, which included the El Paso area, on July 29th. Over the course of these 4 public hearings, regional hearings, we heard from 205 individual witnesses. We had 205 people individually testify before this committee. And as we were utilizing virtual testimony and live streaming, we had approximately 3,852 clicks to the Senate live stream that were recorded. In other words, at over 3,850 times, people entered in to watch the hearings online. Testimony included invited witnesses, the names of which had been given to us by the Senate Democrat Caucus chair, and sitting members of Congress. Congressman Mark Vesey testified, as well as Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher, Sylvia Garcia, and Congressman Al Green. We provided the opportunity for the public to provide testimony by remote means, as I mentioned, and sessions were held on Saturday and after hours. We were aware that some people might be prevented from participating due to a long drive, the long distance obviously from Austin if we had the hearings here, or by work or family obligations. And so we did this in this virtual fashion so that as many people as possible could offer their input. And we had just that. We had people testify from all over the state. It was interesting how many people said, thank you for doing this. I'm down in the RGV today, or I'm some other place and I couldn't be there, or there's a House hearing that I wanted to attend and couldn't get to, or I went to the House hearing and wasn't able to testify, so I appreciate y'all doing this today so I could do this without driving again to Austin. In addition, on August the 6th, the Senate held, this committee held a hearing for invited testimony, and we invited the following interested parties. Again, these were names that were given to us at our request by the Democrat caucus chair, and many of these testified during our teleconference hearings. Nina Perales with MALDEF, Gary Bledsoe with the Texas NAACP, Ellen Katz with the University of Michigan Law School, Michael Lee with the Brennan Center for Justice, Niyati Shah with the Asian Americans Advancing Justice, Leah Aden with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Luis Figueroa with Every Texan, Ramon Palomares with LULAC, Tenias Chavez with La Union del Pueblo Entero, and also we invited the entire Democrat congressional delegation. Again, this was all for the August 6th invited testimony hearing. This hearing was held specifically because there were comments at the regional hearings earlier that a map was not available on which to testify, and so we wanted to give these interested parties and stakeholders a specific opportunity to come and testify before the committee on SB 4, on the bill before us today. We held that public hearing yesterday with, as I said, over a dozen invited witnesses and all of the Democratic congressional delegation, but they all chose to either decline the invitation or not respond at all. So today is we're here for the public to testify, which is another reason I wanted to bifurcate, to separate these into two hearings, invited testimony and public testimony, is because I didn't want you to have to wait 2 or 3 hours until invited testimony would be over, as we had seen happen in the House, which wasn't their fault, but I just didn't want you to have to wait a long time. During this special session, we also reopened, actually I think before the session began, the public comment portal, through which any member of the public may provide comments and present documents. As of noon yesterday, we have received 3,668 public comments through the public portal. All of these public comments are being and will be distributed to the committee members, and we are in the process of making these available to all senators and the public on the Senate's website as soon as possible. We've been processing about 400 of these a day, and my staff's not crazy happy about that, but it just takes a while to go through them. We have to redact personal information. We don't want to make it, if you've filed something with the portal, we don't want to make your personal email or phone number or home address or anything like that available to the public. So we're having to go through each one of those that comes in. We're doing about 400 a day, and we're trying to redact, black marker out your personal information. But those are being made available to the committee and will soon be available to all the public and all the Senate members. Now, that brings us to where we are today in this laying out this bill. And I want to take just a moment, if I may, to discuss redistricting history and some principles and legal standards. I believe that I'm correct in saying that redistricting has been addressed during special sessions of the Texas legislature as far back as at least 1871, when they did school district redistricting, and then they did congressional redistricting in a special session in 1882. This also includes special sessions in the past 6 redistricting cycles. They did redistricting in special sessions in 1971, 1981, 1991, 1997. That was actually for the education again, Board of Education. We did special session redistricting in 2003, 2011, 2013, and 2021. The 2021 was delayed because the census data did not come out until the Senate had adjourned in its regular 2021 session. So we had to come back and do redistricting in the special session. My point is, the legislature can choose and has chosen many times to redistrict during a special session. And we can frankly, lawfully, and by precedent, redistrict at any time the legislature so desires, including mid-decade, as we are today. And the states have very broad authority. All states have very broad authority. This is recognized by the courts under the U.S. Constitution and its election clause to choose when to do redistricting. Now, the U.S. Constitution requires that congressional districts be drawn with population as close to equal as possible to achieve the one person, one vote standard. We have some flexibility when we're doing House and Senate maps, but we do not with the congressional districts. This standard is from this one person, one vote standard, is from the Supreme Court's 1964 decisions in Westbury v. Sanders and Reynolds v. Sims. It's also grounded in the 14th Amendment and Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution. So, for our purposes of this map that we're considering today, the ideal district size is 766,987 in population. SB 4, I will tell you, meets the one person, one vote standard. Now, please also note, for any of the senators on the committee or the other senators in the body, please also note that any amendments that would be presented in this committee or on the floor must meet this same population criteria as well as all other legal criteria. Every proposed amendment here or on the floor, the proponent must be able to demonstrate that their proposed amendment meets these legal requirements. So please be prepared to discuss that if you have I think it'll be floor amendment, because we don't have any amendments filed for the hearing today. Now, a little bit about the legal basis for district design. The area of redistricting law is robust, to say the least. I've consulted with our legal counsel, and I am confident that SB 4 complies with the law in all regard. The House came to the same conclusion with HB 4, our companion. Therefore, starting with the position that our map is legal in all regard, I've tried to focus on 2 major issues. My first objective in adopting the House map and presenting this map today, my first objective is to create a plan that elects more Republicans to the U.S. Congress. In contrast to the complications involved with race-based redistricting, political performance, in this case, my objective of electing more Republicans to the U.S. Congress, is a permissible basis for drawing electoral districts. This was recognized by the U.S. Supreme Court in Rucho v. Common Cause and in, I guess it's pronounced Vieth v. Jubileer. Those were 2019 and 2024 cases, respectively. My second objective, and the first was to elect more Republicans to the U.S. Congress. My second objective, and I'll admit I wasn't initially intending to focus on this, but we, during the public testimony, heard repeated comments from citizens that districts weren't compact, meaning that there were so many districts that were irregularly shaped, oddly shaped. Now, districts that are drawn to be compact tend to aid in representation because they avoid the risk of distant communities being being united when they may not have everything in common. And I'll mention my Senate district. I have urban Fort Worth and Arlington, and then I also have rural counties, one with only 4,000. And the districts are different and the needs are different. So you want to try to make districts as compact as possible. It also allows it a lot more ease for the, in this case, the congressional members to travel across those districts. Now, I will say this is a particular difficulty in Texas because we are so large. We're not New Jersey. We're a state of 254 counties and 31 million people. And particularly when you get into West Texas, so many of those counties have only 5,000 or 10,000 in population. So when you're trying to put a district together that has 766,987 people in it, you tend to have to reach in often and grab population from an urban area, but then add a lot of rural counties to it, because that's simply the only way you can meet the one person, one vote requirements that we have in this very large county. It's not such an issue in the urban areas or in the areas closer to the urban areas because we can make those more compact. And what we heard from a lot of citizens is that there are a number of districts that could be more compact, but were not. And so that became a second objective in looking at this SB4. Now, I will tell you that SB4 accomplishes both objectives. Even a quick look at the plan, and we've put maps up, as you can see. We've got maps on easels at the back, both maps of the district, the current districts, the proposed districts under SB4, and then the regional areas. And there's also copies of maps available for the public in the back of the room. But this map accomplishes both the objectives. Even a quick look at the plan shows it is more compact in many ways, and we'll look at a couple of those in a minute. And it has better political performance, from my perspective, than the enacted plan, the current district map. Let's talk about the impact a little bit of this proposed map. Let's go through some of the high-level changes. SB4 redraws 37 of 38 congressional districts. But let me say most districts are changed in only very minor, even non-substantive ways. The most significant changes, the most significant changes affect 5 districts, and those districts will now lean Republican in political performance. That would be CD9 in Houston, CD28 in the RGV, the Rio Grande Valley, CD32 in Dallas, CD34 coastal area in South Texas, and CD35, which is primarily the San Antonio area. Now, by drawing race blind, which is what I did, I have not looked at nor considered racial data in drawing this map. By drawing race blind, SB4's districts are substantially more compact with more reasonable geographic configurations that provide a better basis for representation. I'd like to show you a couple examples. Let's start with, and again, if you picked up a map at the back, those of you in the audience, or just looking at the large ones in the back, but members, and with regard to District 32, and you can't see this very well from here, I know, but if you look at District 32, it has, where am I at? 32. Yeah, right, good, sorry. If you look at District 32 as it's drawn today, it covers it's over 2 counties, but it's very disjointed, and I know this area very well. It's very disjointed in the communities it reaches into and the roads it follows, and comes all the way here through South Dallas, up through Central, goes way up into Denton, and it curves down in odd structures and comes here. And the way it is done under this map, it is very compact and combines counties in a very, really, I think, appropriate way. Another example is District 35. This is probably the best example. It's one people often point to and pointed to often in testimony when they spoke of districts that were not compact. This district begins way down in Bexar County, and you can see it has some population down here. It gets very, very thin, exceptionally thin, as it traverses through Guadalupe and Comal counties, up through Hayes, along Caldwell, and then all the way up into Travis, and then takes unique turns and bends in Travis. In the proposed map, SB4, you can see that that CD35 is now very compact, very clearly structured, and pulls together communities of similar interest with Karnes, Wilson, Bexar, and Guadalupe counties. So it is much, much more compact. And I'll tell you that the existing district is, I would suggest, one of the most oddly drawn districts in the country today. So I believe the map is much more compact than what we have in the current map. Now, and again, as I mentioned, my understanding is that these 5 districts, 9, 28, 32, 34, and 35, should perform on a partisan basis now for the Republican Party. Again, I want to say I did not look at racial data, but for the committee members in your bill packets, there is census data in the bill packets produced by Legislative Counsel to which you can refer if you wish to. Again, that is public census data. It is not racial data. Now, in conclusion, I would say that SB4, which is before us today, is more compact than the enacted plan, the current plan, and it complies with all applicable law. We've had plenty of opportunity for testimony with regard to redistricting and census data all the way back literally to 2021, and we've had a lot of discussion and 5 hearings thus far, with almost 4,000 people participating and 205 witnesses just before the Senate. We've had ample opportunity, and no one has presented data or a compelling case that this map violates any applicable laws. So it accomplishes what were my 2 objectives. First, that it perform better on a partisan basis for Republicans, but then second, that it be more compact as requested by so many of the witnesses. And with that, I would do my best to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Senator Miles, questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the explanation you just gave. I'd like to start off by going back to July 21st, when we had a joint caucus of the whole, meaning we had the Democratic caucus and the Republican caucus, and this was our initial conversation about this redistricting. Our initial conversation in private, just us.
Yes, sir.
I want to make it very clear that, Mr. Chairman, when you made it clear that I would be on this committee, and I accepted it, and as well as you and the Lieutenant Governor, that my exact words to you were, I couldn't see the fight going any other way. If there was going to be a fight, I wanted to be in the room. So I appreciate you for allowing me to be here on this committee. But what I also said to all of my colleagues, to you of all my colleagues, is I've looked at this process, and if we're going to do this, is what I said to you, if we're going to do this, Senator Hughes, I'm going to expose it for what it really is. If you recall me saying that. I said I would expose it for what it really is, and in turn, each one of you would be exposed for carrying out this racist process. That's what I said to you on the 21st in the Betty King room when we first got together and talked about this process. Does any of my colleagues remember that?
I remember your comments.
Okay, thank you, sir. Going past the 21st, Mr. Chairman, you said we had 205 individual witnesses testify. You also said that we had 38 that clicked on and watched, and don't know how long they clicked on, how long they watched. We don't have the record. They just clicked on and checked it out and checked it off, right? But we had 205. 205 is the number that you use. People who had testified. Now, citizens, I want you to know, and colleagues, I want you to know, for something as important as redistricting the entire state of Texas, I would believe that there are more than 205 people that would like to have some input. So if that is a point of success that you're speaking of there, sir, I would beg to differ, respectfully. Second, I'm glad and I appreciate, and I'm sure all the citizens of Texas appreciate you telling the truth, being honest. When you looked at that map, you said it was your intention to pick up 5 more Republican seats. Thank you for being honest on that, sir. We appreciate that. But that was correct me if I'm wrong, that was the direct instructions from the DOJ letter from Washington, D.C. that was ordered by Trump. That's exactly what it said. They wanted to pick up 5 more. Isn't that correct? Same thing said in the letter. The same thing you're admitting to is the same instructions they had in the letter from the DOJ. Is that correct? DOJ. Would you agree?
Answer?
Yes, sir.
I would disagree. First off, I had nothing to do with the DOJ letter. I've had no communications with the DOJ.
I'm sorry, sir. Before you're correct. The president said it, not the DOJ.
Okay. I've had no communications with the president or the White House. But yes, you're correct. My objective was when I look at the policies and the harm done to the nation through those policies in the 4 previous years, everything from a 30 trillion plus deficit to what we saw at the border, to the Venezuelan gangs, to the fentanyl crisis, problems with Russia and China, on and on and on, that it compels me to try to help make sure that we have a Republican Congress going forward.
So those are the direct orders. You would agree with me then that those are the direct orders from Donald J. Trump through the DOJ that came to our governor, that came to our lieutenant governor, that came to our attorney general, that came to you as the chairman of this committee, correct?
I've had no instructions.
And you followed it.
I've had no instructions.
You've had no instructions, but that's what was, we've gone through this once before, Senator King, Chairman King. We agree that was the order from the president.
So I carried the congressional redistricting bill in 2003, and my objective then was to create more Republican seats, which we did, and that was my objective when I was asked if I would chair this committee this time. But I've received no directions from anybody in the...
Well, the letter's out there, and we'll leave it at that, and you didn't receive any direct from the president. But you are admitting that one of your objectives was to increase the congressional districts by 5 Republicans.
That was and is my chief objective.
Was and is. Okay, you probably don't know this because I just heard it on the radio this morning on the way in that A.G. Dillon would not come and speak to us, She didn't respond to the letter that you wrote her, and we respectfully wrote that. I wasn't able to subpoena her per the vote for the committee, but she's out on radio talk shows. And this morning, she said that the reason that the governor gave the ability to call a special session and to put redistricting on call was to get 5 more additional Republican seats. Now, she won't come to tell us that. She won't even respond to us in a letter, my brother. But yet she's on a national network radio station all over the country saying exactly what she intended to do. And that was heard just this morning, sir. And it also said that King, but you said, Senator King, that you could do it in any time, which we understand that. I don't think we're questioning the redistricting being done now. I think the big question for the citizens of Texas is, why is it being done? And all we want we know why it's being done. We just wanted somebody of leadership of this state to say why it's being done. Senator King, you also stated that you were trying to give these congressional members a chance to testify. You also qualified the amount of communication this committee had with each of these offices in the way to make it seem though they were too scared or too damn good to testify before this committee. I heard you say that on yesterday when I was in Boston. But I also know at what time of day yesterday did you decide, because you and I communicated, at what time of day yesterday did you decide to let the congressional members come and testify?
So we had, as I mentioned,
I've got it right here when you communicated with me.
okay.
Senator King.
So, thank you, Chairman. I'm sorry. So, at the regional hearings, as I mentioned, we had 4 of them testify. And then you and I spoke on the phone Monday night. You called to ask some questions about redistricting. And I told you that we were having the invited testimony hearing Wednesday. And then you said, well, have you invited the congressional members? And I said, no, I haven't. And based on that suggestion, the next morning, we invited all the congressional members.
The next morning?
Tuesday morning.
About what time?
Before 10 a.m.
Before 10? Okay. And you expected them to be here, your congressional members, you invited right at 10 o'clock, 11, closer to 11, you invited them, and you expected for them to be here what time?
By 2 o'clock the next day.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And if I can finish answering that.
Yes, sir.
Senator King.
That was similar to the notice that brought 4 congressional members to testify the day before, or the week before. It is also, they all know we're in the middle of this redistricting. They all know the process. One of them is even a former senator, Sylvia Garcia.
Right.
They know that there's going to be opportunities for testimony when the bill is laid out, and they know how this works. And so
Okay.
I don't know how to give them longer notice,
Okay.
but based on your suggestion, early the next morning, we started the process. By 10 o'clock, I notified all 12 of them, and we did follow-up reach-outs to see if we could accommodate that.
And I thank you for that, Senator King.
Senator Miles.
Although they may have not have been here on yesterday, Senator King, you know that they did testify on House maps, on the House map, which is the same map that you filed. You understand that, right?
Yes.
Last Friday at the House Redistricting Rigged Districting Committee hearing, a large number of Texas congressional Democrats took their time to be here in person and testify against this map. I can specifically point to the following congresspeople: Greg Kazar, Jasmine Crockett, Lloyd Doggett, Sylvia Garcia, Al Green, and Mark Vesey were all here to testify on that same map. They testified to the constitutional issues of the VRA issues on this map. They told the committee that this was going to hurt the American people at large and their communities specifically. They embodied the most American of virtues, defiance in the face of oppression. They spoke up and they spoke out on that same map that you filed, SB4. This is the same map that was filed in the House. There are no differences except for one has an S and one has an H. If they choose not to accept the invitation to appear yesterday, that does not take away from their outcry they have made regarding this map. They still feel the same way, Mr. Chairman. We as a committee need to be honest with ourselves. No matter what is done today or tomorrow regarding this map, this is all just a political theater at its finest. And we've been playing it very good in this redistricting. Political theater. Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm a little angered by the actions of this committee and its pretext. Let us stop pretending that this is about the will of the people. It clearly has been a demonstration of action of this committee and its leadership in the state that we really don't care. Not we, y'all really don't care. Hundreds and hundreds of people have testified before the map came out and after the map came out. And it's done nothing to change the minds and directions of the leadership of this state, Mr. Chairman, members. Nothing. Hundreds of people have testified. When we began this hearing, Mr. Chairman, it was stated that your intention was to wait for a map to come over from the House, correct? But when it made clear that this map would not pass the House representatives because of lack of quorum of members, Senate Bill 4 was referred. Now go think about that. It's exactly the same map, Mr. Chairman. The same copy of the congressional map put forth by the House Redistricting Committee. It is the exact map that breaks apart our minority communities and dilutes black and brown voting power, Mr. Chairman. It's as if the chambers were told, this is the map and this is what it's going to be, point blank, period. I have to ask, were we told that? Were you told that?
And I'm sorry, could you restate that question?
I would have to ask, if somebody must have told you all that this is going to be the map, point blank, period. The same map that's going to break up black and brown voting powers. Because it's the same map as the House.
Senator King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to correct one thing. My staff just corrected me that when we posted for Wednesday's hearing, we posted that on Monday. And as soon as we did, my staff emailed the staff of every senator on this committee and asked them to be sure and invite anyone they wanted to come to the invited testimony hearing and to just let us know. So actually, we had asked the Senate members to let us know of anyone they wanted to attend, congressional or otherwise, on Monday. So
anyone they wanted, huh? That's what you stated. Anyone they wanted?
Yes, anyone that they wanted, anyone that you wanted or any other member wanted to testify.
Understood.
Let us know and to go ahead and invite them.
But the question at hand.
The question at hand. So I think I'm correct in saying that anytime I've been asked about this, up until the time I decided to go ahead and file the bill, I had said that I was not sure if I would be drafting a bill or if I would wait on the House. As I watched along, as you did, the House hearings, as I learned about this map, no one ever handed me a stick drive with a map on it. No one emailed me anything and said, file this. Nobody did anything like that at all, from inside this building or outside this building. But I made the decision to adopt, as it were, HB 4 because I saw that it complied with the law and that it, from a partisan perspective, performed well, and that it was more compact than in some regards than the existing map. And so I decided to file the companion bill. I did talk with the House author about that. So yes, but this bill is adopted from the House. I didn't adopt it because it's the House's bill. I adopted it because it achieved those objectives that I mentioned of improving compactness and most importantly, performing better from a partisan perspective.
So a simple yes answer to the question, yes or no, is you were not told that this was going to be the map that we gave Texas?
No, I've never been told that.
Okay, thank
No.
you. Mr. Chairman. That was,
I
just want to clarify the
I
question.
believe excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in, but I believe I had
Senator King.
full freedom to file any bill, any map.
Yeah. So as I asked you on the floor many times, along with our other colleagues, so it's just coincidental that they just happen to be the same map?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator King.
No, it's not coincidental at all. I studied the House map, watched some of the hearings, had asked our legal counsel to review the House map to determine if they agreed that it was legal in all respects, and decided it was a good map, better for Texas, better for the nation, and that's why I decided to go ahead and file it.
Well, thank God.
Senator Miles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank God that in this particular special session for redistricting, it's not going to pass the House. It's going to be dead on arrival. We'll be here again for the next special session for redistricting. But Mr. Chairman, just a little bit more. Why are you further wasting taxpayers' time going through this motion? Are you just fast tracking Trump's racist agenda to get his approval so that we can, put it back on and so he can say to you, good job, Senator King, good job, Senator King? Because we all know that now that the House is gone, this Senate floor map, as we see it right now in this particular session, was going to die.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator King.
So I think you're